I think we need to understand that there is a difference between self esteem, self confidence, and self love. You see, these three terms have gotten so thrown around, and we don't even know we are using it wrongly sometimes. We have always heard about self esteem and self love and confidence in theory, and a lot of us do not really understand what these terms really mean. That is why it has gotten super easy to get deceived by a stranger with a lot of followers on the internet when they tell us how to cultivate these attributes, even though sometimes or most times some of their theories lack depth. There are distinct differences in all these attributes, and until we truly understand them, we cannot have them. And even though today I'm choosing to talk about self love, I am going to explain the meaning of each attribute and how it really affects us so we don't mix them up. Let's take, for example, self esteem. Self esteem is the act of appraiser. You know, when you evaluate your skill and your value and your achievement, that is how self esteem is cultivated. Self esteem is different from self love. Self esteem is the value which you place on yourself or your skills or anything that concerns you. While self confidence, on the other hand, can also be called self efficacy. It is the belief in your own abilities. The more competent you are, the more confident you tend to be. And the fun fact about self confidence is that you cannot achieve it without experience. Self confidence cannot be achieved without proper discipline or training. Whatever it is you want to be confident in any aspect of your life, you must have trained and failed and overcome adversities to be confident or to be referred to as a confident person. But unlike self confidence and self esteem, self love is unconditional. It is the total support for your own growth mentally, spiritually, psychologically, you name it. Unlike self esteem or self confidence, self love cannot be evaluated. It is not a destination. It is a practice of acceptance with no conditions or evaluation. That is what self love is. So, when you understand these three terms, you stop misusing them and start working on how to build either one or all of them. However, these attributes are not all easily attainable. Some people possess all three attributes, while others only possess a couple or even one of them. Which takes me back to the self love I'm going to discuss today. It is possible and basically human to have crooked teeth or nose or any other physical appearance that the society would consider unattractive. What is not okay, however, is obsessing over any of these appearances and pessimistically dwelling on it to the point of getting consumed by insecurities. A crack in a glass is not necessarily going to make that glass leak, but if you continuously press on that crack and you dwell on it, you might shatter the glass. Building unshakable self love is acknowledging your flaws, accepting them, and loving them as part of you, especially when you are not capable of changing them. There are different steps of building self love. Number one is self awareness. You cannot love what you don't know. You need to become an observer of your own flaws, your own thoughts, and your own triggers. And you also need to notice the patterns that triggers your inner critic. That inner voice that's constantly against your flaws, that's always reminding you of the negativity, that is always telling you how you're not enough, how you're not worth good things. You should understand when you're being harsh on yourself and label it immediately. Oh my God, I am having a self-critic moment or thoughts right now. And when that is happening, you take a pause. If you have to relax, you breathe, do something, pace around, walk around, go outside and catch some sun and just relax. Breathe. That is one vital step to overcoming these thoughts. After you've done that, you need to now embrace self acceptance. This is the bridge between knowing yourself and loving yourself. It involves acknowledging your flaws or past mistakes, practicing radical honesty, and making peace with these flaws without trying to immediately fix them. You need to understand that this is your flaw, and if they are outside your capabilities or you know that you cannot immediately fix them, you need to take it slowly. You need to be gentle with the thought. This is a part of you. If there is nothing you can do to change it, You have to accept it the way it is. This is not always easy, and that is where self compassion comes in. After accepting your reality, you have to apply kindness. I cannot emphasize this enough, but you need to shift from punishment based motivation to encouragement based growth. For example, if you make a mistake, instead of suddenly critiquing yourself and saying negative things to yourself like, oh my God, I am so stupid. Why did I let that happen? Switch that thought for thoughts like, okay, I am human. I can make mistakes. And this is one of the mistakes I have made today. You need to treat yourself with the same love, compassion that you would treat a child. Truthfully, there is a child inside all of us. We all have our inner child to nurture. And until you learn to care for your inner child, these negative thoughts are always going to be overwhelming and draining. Now, how to easily cultivate this takes us to the next step, which is self respect and boundaries. This is the vital steps of aligning your external action to your inner needs. You need to start setting boundaries in your relationships, in your personal life, in whatever you do. You need to start setting boundaries and being strict with them. Anything that is going to go against your boundary is not healthy for you. You need to know the things that are worth your stress and the things that aren't worth it. You need to understand the things that are triggering you. You need to understand the patterns, the people who come into your life, what they do that triggers you, or whatever it is that they do playfully or unknowingly to them that they say that can trigger the negative thoughts. And you need to be strict with your boundaries and your self respect. Which takes us to the last step, which is self care. This is basically maintenance, and this is my favorite part. This is my favorite one. Self care. This is the fuel that keeps other steps running. Start recognizing the habits that does not align with your goals and you start cutting them off. You don't negotiate. You also need to build discipline. Having consistent healthy habits like exercising or eating healthy, getting proper nutrition, and sleeping well. You continuously practice your basic self needs physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, however it is that you want to build it. You just start not negotiating your values. Trust me, when you start doing all of this continuously, you build unshakable self-love. Now, one thing you need to understand is that all of these steps may not happen simultaneously. It does not have to happen simultaneously. Some days you'll be great at awareness, but you will suck at setting boundaries, and some days it will be vice versa. All you have to do is understand that it is normal, it is part of the process. You cannot be perfect at mastering all of these steps, but you need to remind yourself whenever you're relapsing. You need to constantly call yourself back to order and always remind yourself, I didn't do this the right way. I need to take note of that. That is how you build it. It is not always easy to cultivate this attribute. It is not always easy to follow these steps, but you have to build them. Because trust me, ain't nothing like self love. Self love is my favorite attribute. To cultivate any healthy habit, you need to first of all develop self love. It is until you love yourself that you can decide that you want to do what is best for you. It is until you've cultivated the habit of constantly looking after yourself and nurturing your inner child that you can set your goals and follow through. Self love is the master of all the good attributes. To me, I think that is it. What I'm saying in essence is that self love is one of the major steps to breaking that barrier to doing the things that you promised yourself that you're going to do. In fact, self love is necessary for you to follow your goals and your dreams. Following your goals require you to show up for yourself every day and put yourself first. And that cannot be easy if you haven't cultivated self love. Your needs and your wants come first. Every other thing can be added at the bottom of the list. You should come first. Well, that is all I have to say today. My name is Kelvin Odenisi, and I'll see you in the next video.